The smell of fresh paint still lingered in our new apartment, a cozy one-bedroom we'd moved into 3 months ago. I was unpacking the last of the boxes, humming to myself, when I found it. A small, unmarked envelope tucked inside a book Ryan had left on the coffee table. We'd been together for 2 years, and I thought I knew him inside out. His love for cheesy action movies, his habit of leaving socks on the bathroom floor, the way his hazel eyes softened when he said he loved me. We were planning a trip to the coast for our anniversary next month, and I'd been daydreaming about it all morning, picturing us walking hand in hand along the shore. But that envelope changed everything. It wasn't sealed, just folded shut, and curiosity got the better of me. I opened it, expecting old receipts or maybe a forgotten note, but instead, I pulled out a photo. A little girl, maybe 4 or 5, with dark curls and a gap-toothed smile. She was holding a stuffed bunny, standing in a park I didn't recognize. My stomach twisted. Who was she? A niece? A cousin's kid? Ryan had never mentioned anyone like her. I flipped the photo over, and there, in his handwriting, was a name and date. Lily, 4th birthday, June 2024. My breath caught. June 2024. 6 months ago. I sank onto the couch, staring at the photo, my mind racing. Ryan didn't have siblings, and his cousins lived across the country. This wasn't a random family member. This was something else, something he'd never told me about. I don't know how long I sat there, the apartment silent, except for the hum of the fridge. Part of me wanted to put the photo back, pretend I hadn't seen it, but the other part, the louder part, needed answers. I started digging, something I'd never done before. Ryan's laptop was on the kitchen counter, still open from last night when we'd been browsing vacation rentals. My hands shook as I clicked through his files, feeling like a thief in my own home. Nothing unusual. Work documents, movie downloads, a folder of old photos from college. Then I checked his email, my heart pounding so loud I thought it'd wake the neighbors. There was, buried in a folder labeled miscellaneous, an email thread from someone named Sarah, dated a year ago. The subject line was blank, but the message hit me like a punch. Lily misses you. Can we talk about visitation? She keeps asking when you're coming back. Ryan's reply was short. I'm trying, Sarah. Things are complicated. I'll call soon. There were more. Going back years, some friendly, some tense. All about schedules, birthdays, a little girl named Lily. His daughter. I closed the laptop, my vision blurring with tears. A daughter. Ryan had a child. A 4-year-old he'd never mentioned. Not once in 2 years. Not when we'd talked about our future. Not when I'd brought up kids someday. Not even when he'd moved in with me, promising we were building a life together. How could he keep this from me? Who was Sarah? And why? Why hadn't he trusted me with the truth? He came home an hour later, loosening his tie, that familiar tired but happy smile on his face. Hey, babe, he said, dropping his bag by the door. Smells like paint in here. You finished the boxes. I didn't answer. I was still on the couch, the photo in my hand, my heart a knot of anger and hurt. He stopped, his smile fading as he saw my face. Clara, what's wrong? I held up the photo, my hand trembling. Who's Lily? His face went white, like I'd pulled the air from the room. Where did you get that? Does it matter? My voice cracked. She's your daughter, isn't she? You have a kid, Ryan, and you never told me. He sank into the armchair across from me, head in his hands. Clara, I was going to tell you. I swear. When? I snapped, tears spilling now. When we were married, when I found out from someone else. 2 years, Ryan. 2 years, and you hid this from me. It's not that simple, he said, voice low, pleading. It's complicated. Then uncomplicate it, I said, leaning forward. Who's Sarah? Why didn't you tell me? What else are you hiding? He took a deep breath, like he was steeling himself. Sarah's my ex. We dated in college, broke up before graduation. She found out she was pregnant a few months later. I wasn't ready to be a dad. I panicked, moved out here, tried to start over. She raised Lily on her own for a while, but I've been trying to be there, you know? Visits, calls, whatever I can do. Whatever you can do. I echoed, incredulous. You didn't even tell me she existed. Were you ever going to? Yes, he said, too fast. I was waiting for the right time. Things with Sarah were messy. Court stuff, custody fights. I didn't want to drag you into it. Drag me into it? My voice rose, sharp and raw. I'm your girlfriend, Ryan. We live together. You don't get to decide what I can handle. I know, he said, eyes glistening now. I screwed up. I was scared. Scared you'd leave if you knew. I stared at him, the man I'd loved, the man I'd trusted, and felt like I was looking at a stranger. Why would I leave? I whispered. Because you have a kid? Or because you lied to me for 2 years? He didn't answer, just looked down, and the silence was worse than any excuse. I stood, grabbing my keys. I need to think, I said, and left before he could stop me. I drove to my sister's place, tears streaming, the photo of Lily still burning in my mind. Jess let me in without a word, just handed me a glass of wine and listened as I spilled it all. The envelope, the emails, the betrayal. He lied to me. I kept saying it would make it hurt less. How do I trust him now? You don't, Jess said, blunt as always. Not until he earns it. But a kid, Clara, that's not just a secret. That's a whole life. What do you want with him now? I didn't know. That was the worst part. I loved Ryan. Or at least, I loved the version of him I'd known. But this new version, with a daughter and a past he'd buried. Could I love him too? Could I forgive him? I stayed with Jess for 2 days, ignoring Ryan's texts, his voicemails, his pleas to talk. On the 3rd day, he showed up at her door, looking like he hadn't slept. Please, Clara, he said, voice raw. Just hear me out. I let him in, not because I was ready, but because I needed to know if there was anything left to salvage. We sat at Jess's kitchen table, her hovering in the next room like a bodyguard. Ryan didn't waste time. I'm sorry, he said, hands clasped tight. I should have told you from the start. I was ashamed, I guess, of how I handled things with Lily. I wasn't there for her at first, and I hate myself for it. When I met you, I wanted a clean slate. But that was wrong. You deserved the truth. Yeah, I did, I said, voice steady despite the ache in my chest. So what's the truth now? Are you in her life? Is Sarah still around? He nodded. I see Lily every other weekend. She lives with Sarah, about an hour away. She's a good mom. We're not together, never will be. It's just about Lily now. I swallowed hard, picturing that little girl from the photo. What's she like? His face softened, a flicker of pride breaking through. She's amazing. Funny, stubborn, loves animals. She's got this laugh. It's like music. I wish you could meet her. The words hit me hard, not because I didn't want to, but because I realized I might. Why didn't you trust me? I asked, voice breaking. Did you think I'd run? I didn't know, he admitted. You're so together, Clara. You've got your life figured out. I was scared you'd see me differently. A deadbeat dad who's still figuring it out. I see you differently now, I said, honest. But not because of Lily. Because you hid her. He nodded, tears in his eyes. I know. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. Therapy, transparency, anything. Just don't give up on us. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Jess walked me back to her guest room after he left, and I cried until I had nothing left. The next week was a blur. Work, sleepless nights, endless talks with Jess. I kept thinking about Lily, a little girl who didn't know me, but who was part of Ryan, part of the life I'd thought was mine. Could I be with him, knowing he'd kept her from me? Could I be, what, a stepmom someday? The idea was too big, too heavy. Then I got a text from Sarah. Ryan had given her my number, said she wanted to talk. I hesitated, but curiosity. And maybe a need for closure. One out. We met at a park, neutral ground, and I spotted her right away. Tall, dark hair like Lily's, carrying a coffee and a cautious smile. "Thanks for coming," she said, sitting on a bench. "I know this is weird." "Yeah," I said, managing a small laugh. "Weird's one word for it." She didn't sugarcoat it. Ryan messed up. He's good with Lily now, but he wasn't always. I don't know what he told you, but I thought, you should hear it from me. Lily's his world, even if he's been an idiot about it. I nodded, throat tight. "What's she like?" Sarah's face lit up, same as Ryan's had. She's a firecracker. Loves drawing, hates broccoli, asks a million questions. She's why I'm okay with Ryan being back in her life. He's trying. We talked for an hour. About Lily, about Ryan, about the messy years before I'd come along. Sarah wasn't my enemy, just a mom doing her best. And that clarity helped, somehow. When we parted, she handed me a drawing. A crayon scribble of a bunny, signed Lily, in wobbly letters. "She'd want you to have it," Sarah said. I kept that drawing on my fridge, a reminder of the stakes. A month later, I met Ryan for coffee, my terms. "I'm not ready to move back in," I said, voice steady. "But I'm willing to try. Slowly. No more secrets." "None," he promised, and for the first time, I believed him. 6 months later, I met Lily. She was everything they'd said. Funny, curious, with Ryan's eyes and Sarah's curls. She showed me her bunny, asked if I liked to draw, and laughed when I spilled juice on my shirt. I wasn't her mom, wouldn't be, but I could be. Something. Someone who cared. At our anniversary dinner, Ryan squeezed my hand, his eyes soft again. "Thank you," he said, "for staying." I smiled, the drawing tucked in my purse. "Thank you for being honest." Finally. It wasn't perfect, wasn't easy, but it was ours. A life with room for a little girl I hadn't expected, but couldn't imagine without.